My guest in the studio is Nana Jumosapo. He's president, Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies. He joins me in the studio for further insights into the issue of floods in Ghana. Nana, let me start off first of all by finding out from you your own personal assessment of the flood situation in Ghana over the years.
Thank you very much. It's a very, I feel very emotional that this thing should happen. Because since 1989, we have been advocating on your network, mostly on your network, about the causes, why, what to do to prevent them. And TV3 has done a lot in terms of educating the public, but nobody listens. And so the flood situation, personally, and that fateful Wednesday, I was coming from a church. And when I got to Kawokudi Junction, I saw a heavy traffic. So I decided to use another route. And that place too, there was traffic. Everywhere I parked, there was traffic. So I told my friend that, please, drive us towards 37. And there, I know we will be secure. So I got home. Finally, I navigated. I got home around 1:30. And we heard the news. And looking at the pictures, when I saw this woman, whose husband has gone to work, ringing that I'm coming home and never got home. And I saw the people bent. Just now when I saw the lady, I just felt very, very sad. And I think if people will listen, when I say people, the problem I see in this country is that you can't manage the environment from offices, and the flood situation in this country is caused by actions and inaction. What do I mean by action and inaction? Somebody is supposed not to do something, he did that. And let me quote Haile Selassie. He said, throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who have taken action, the inactivity of those who should have acted when it matters most, that has made evil to triumph. This is the exact situation, that somebody was doing the wrong thing. Nobody stopped him. And somebody was to take action against the person doing that. Nobody did that. That is why this serious flood has affected us. Growing up in Accra, we saw that Aveno and other areas, and Odona, there were small floods there. And so we knew that that place was a flood-prone area, and people are not supposed to build there. Before we realized huge buildings coming up, springing up. But we always tell them that you can't do that.
Now, in the aftermath of the floods and the devastation that has accompanied it, we've seen a bit of reaction coming in from government and city authorities. Already we are seeing the breaking down of buildings and fuel stations as well. Is that the way to go?
I'm telling you, you should have done this long time. And on this network, when people say add human face, and I caution Ghanaians, those who advocate for this human face, somebody is living in a place, the threat of his life, his property, and everything was against him. And instead of taking the person from that place, when you say people will come and say add human face, and we decided to add human face, and that's why we've lost this life. The solution is that break those houses. Let me quote Reagan. Ronald Reagan said something. He said, Gorbachev, bring down the wall. We have to bring down those buildings and compensate them. I'm adding something. We should compensate them. Okay. Because the inaction of government officials that has caused this thing. They knew it, they are well educated, they have the information, they have everything to check this thing, they don't do it. Even, you see, sometimes, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I started talking about this long time ago, and it's going to get worse. Even when you go around the country, people are building into road reservation. When there's an accident, when there's a car bursts its tire, it's going to destroy life and property. But nobody wants to talk about it. All over the country, in Accra, everywhere, people are building into road reservation. Why should we sit down for something to happen?
You appear to have quite a bit of problem with people building on waterways. What about the Odo River, the dredging of the Kole, and what have you?
I have a problem with that, and I've been talking about that, because the Odo River, the last time they said they were going to dredge it, I said they were not doing it properly. And some of us, sometimes when we speak from our knowledge, from our experience, and the way it should be done. If it's not done that way, sometimes we travel to far away to study these things, how it is done. And you see, my problem is that I've been advising these engineers that, look, you don't change a water body to a gutter. And I used, they are doing gutter engineering. Once you change a river to a gutter.
Nana, I'm gonna come back to you on this point, but let me go on the phone lines and speak to the mayor of Accra, Alfred Vanderpoel. He joins us. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. So, in the aftermath of Wednesday's flood and disaster, what are you doing?
Well, a lot has happened. We will continue to express our sympathy to the bereaved families. But right from the word go, we had to focus on search and rescue activities. Then the president declared, 3 days of mourning. We've gone through that, and yesterday we ended it with a very significant memorial service. We clean up as a city. We continue to clean up the city and collect all the refuse and debris and fumigate all the communities where we had flooding, because our goal at this time is to prevent any the outbreak of any diseases. So we are fumigating and collecting the refuse and reduce to the barest level any possibility. And then we are giving education on sanitation standards to ensure that people bring their refuse out, to make sure that people wash their drinking water and all of that. We have also significantly started working on the odor and the dredging of the Koli Lagoon. We have equipment and machines to the area, and we are working on that. We are also clearing all illegal structures on walkways and pavements and waterways to make sure that we will have access to these places in case of any fire outbreak or water flooding and of the sort. We are also distributing relief items under the leadership of His Excellency the President through NADMO. We have received relief items and we are distributing them in the affected communities, and then very soon I believe that we will have to join the families for burial activities throughout the city of Accra. And
all well and nice, Mr. Vanderpoel. It seems I've heard this comment year after year. I hear you come out to commiserate with families of the deceased and all that. But beyond just educating people, what are you doing in terms of enforcement of laws? Because you are clothed with the bylaws to implement the laws. I mean, if you see people littering, on the streets of Accra, what are you doing about it? How are you enforcing the laws?
Well, law enforcement around sanitation is also part of the education process. You have to educate and you have to enforce. So that's also part of the ongoing process. We continue to do that every day. We have our monitoring team in town to ensure that residents are maintaining sanitation standards. We continue to educate the residents against their throwing of refuse. We continue to educate and work with people to get more people to register with our polluter pay system so that their refuse would be collected. We work with the sanitation, waste management companies, the 9 companies that we have, to make sure that we register more of our residents and bring them into the polluter pay system. So these things would continue. But I was focusing on, because you said after the flooding, what? So that's why I was focusing on activities that will put us on making sure that humanitarian aspect of the flooding, we are taking care of that. The environmental challenges, we are taking care of that.
Right.
And be very preventive, in the event of any other activities in the future.
Right, Mr. Vanderpoel, let me just ask you my final question. I know you have to rush into a meeting, but I've just got a final question for you. I've heard you talk time and again about the Conti project. Have you secured funds for that project? When is it taking off?
Well, I've always appealed that we should get quickly to the implementation of the Conti project. And I can say that, we are moving very quickly. And the Conti project, that is the infrastructure that has to be in place. I am sure it is going to be in place. We will see the construction of the water retention reservoirs. We will see the drains that needs to be constructed in Accra. As I said, the dredging has started. We are dredging the Kole, we are dredging the Odo. We have more equipment coming in, and so these things they will see the light of day. I've always been confident that it will happen.
All right, thank you very much, Alfred Okuvandapo is Mayor of Accra. Let me return to the studio and wrap up with you, Nana Ajimosapon, President of the Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies. Beyond just the strategies going forward, the long and short-term solutions, you talked about building on waterways. We have buildings on waterways, like the Inzulezu, for instance. We've got cities in abroad where, there are buildings on waterways. So why is there a problem here in Ghana?
Okay, I've been always telling the engineers that when you approve a drawing, you should show how it should be done. Even in Ghana, they have buildings building on waterways, but they build them on pillars. You see, when you are in a low-lying area, you don't have to fill the place.
There should be a way of defeating nature.
You should put pillars. When you go to Forest Research Institute, there's a waterfront. We put pillars there, we put the structure on. When there's flooding, it comes under the building and it goes back. Unfortunately, the problems we have can be solved, but it's just that people don't want to do it. And sometimes we are blaming the city mayor. When did he came to the scene? Before he became a mayor, the problem has been created.
You think he shouldn't be held responsible for what's
happening? The problem has been created. I don't think we should narrow it to him.
There are calls for him to resign.
No, I don't think so. He's doing a good work. Sometimes if you are putting up a structure, this man will walk there and come and tell you do the right thing. So people don't know what he's doing. But for me, we have been doing this since 89. So who is telling me that he is the cause of it? And during the 89, was the person there? No. So the issue must be addressed by the engineers. I told them don't build gutter engineering. When we say gutter engineering, they tell us storm drain. When you want to construct a storm drain, you leave the water body and make the drain, which so that when there's excess water, it goes into the river. But unfortunately, our engineers change water courses, river courses, and make them gutters, and that's why we are having problem. The earth is not breathing. No water is seeping into the soil. So every water is rushing downstream. There will be flooding. So in future, if they want to make drains, they should do the proper storm drain. And unfortunately, we are not harvesting rainwater where we can direct it to every water is falling down. Every place is concrete. And so the water cannot get a place even to rest. There's no pond, there's nothing. So our problem is too huge that all of us have to sit down. Ever since this happened, most of us who have been advocating, nobody will call you because they sit in the office to manage environment. There's no way you can sit in an office to manage
I'm afraid we've got to leave.
But the last but not the least that Ghanaians should remember that the environment doesn't need us. We need the environment. If we think we don't need the environment will punish us.
We've got to leave it here. Thank you so much for your time. Nana Ajimosapon is President of Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies.